We got less than a month until Donald Trump takes the White House. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? America said, let's do this again. My man's Donald Trump gave the largest tax cut in corporate American history to corporate America. You know what I mean? He greatly mishandled the COVID pandemic. He did nothing but tweet and play golf every day. He racked up 91 felony charges, got convicted on 34 of them, led an insurrection against the United States, ran the worst campaign anybody has ever seen before, adjudicated rapist, all that. And America was like, let's do this again. So in less than a month, we're going to do it again. Now let's just tune into some of the silly things that Donald Trump said. I'm reacting live to these, so I haven't seen them yet. So let's see what my man is talking about. There are only two genders. Trump vows U.S. will only recognize male and female after day one executive order to end the transgender lunacy. Now, my question is, how are you going to enforce this? But of course, he can't. He's just talking out of his ass. But let's listen.
With the stroke of my pen on day one, we're going to stop the transgender lunacy.
With the stroke of my pen on day one, and everybody's like, yeah, because I see transgender people all the time. It's all I see when I go outside. And these people are like from like Kansas and Wyoming and Idaho. I mean, just all this imaginary ass bullshit, like men and women's restrooms, because that happens all the time. Everywhere I go, that's happening.
And I will sign executive orders to end child sexual mutilation, get transgender out of the military and out of our elementary schools and
get transgender out of the military. And keep in mind too, minors, people under 18 years old, they can't have sex change operations or gender affirming. They can't do that. Like that doesn't happen. There aren't like, oh, we're gonna perform an operation on this child, this 11-year-old, this 12-year-old. Like that doesn't happen. Doctors don't do that. They would not only risk losing their medical licenses and their ability to practice and earn a living doing what they want to do, but they would end up in prison too. So that doesn't happen. Also, I believe last I checked, there's like 15,000 active transgender members of the military. We have a voluntary force, so taking them out of the military is not really the best idea. But that's definitely something that I think that they have ready to go. And then, hold on, he said, take it out of our elementary schools. Oh, I guess he's talking about you know the the operations that happen. You drop off your son to school, comes home your daughter. Drop your daughter off to school, comes home your son. Like that's they got the operating tables, all the ER equipment in the middle of the schools that can't afford like lunches and basic supplies like notebooks and whatever it is that they use. You feel me? Yeah, they're just changing sexes in the middle of school.
middle schools and high school. And we will keep men out of women's sports. And that will likewise be done on day one. Should I do day one, day two, or day three? How about day one? Right? Under the Trump administration.
He said day one, day two, or day three. Might as well do day one.
It will be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
What does that mean? It'll be in a policy of the United States government. There's only two genders, and people like roar and applause to this. But like, th- I mean, what's going to change? Like, you think that transgender people are just going to go away? Like they're just going to disappear? First and foremost, they make up like what? No more than 1% of the U.S. population. Maybe like 0.5% to 1% of the U.S. population. So you're not going to see them anyway. So again, it's like obviously there's like these people, all this shit exists in their imaginations. It really does. And they roar in applause. And then, like, if you ask Trump supporters, or certain ones of them at least, like why they're happy about Trump, they'll say, like, oh, well, There's only two genders now. I don't have to worry about men and women's bathrooms. Like, so all of a sudden, this huge issue that was, before Trump got in office, it was this massive problem. And now it's just done. It's just over because Donald Trump's in office. Like, bro, this shit isn't real. It's just not. Like, these people are they're too far gone, man.
Doesn't sound too complicated, does it?
It doesn't sound too but again, I mean, what he's not even going to try to enforce that because how do you enforce something like that? He's just saying what the audience wants to hear and he knows it. But again, it's like, okay, now there will be official policy of the US government that there are only two genders. Like, how is that a policy? I mean, obviously, we can see how that type of rhetoric and culture can turn into anti-gay, anti-trans policy, but in and of itself, how is it a policy? Like, bro, like it's really unfortunate that we're still dealing with this type of bigotry in the year is almost 2025 in a country like this. I mean, this is very American, but this petty nonsense just holds us back from really accomplishing great important things as a society. All right, we got more.
But they said there's a light over not only the country right now, but over the entire world. And it is happening. And we want to get some of these. We want to get some of these wars that would have never happened, like Russia, Ukraine would have never happened. Israel would have never been attacked, would have never happened. We wouldn't have inflation. We wouldn't have had that Afghanistan horror show, that horrible, the way we left, leaving billions of dollars of equipment behind. And
again, it's just like, how do you like? We'll never know though. So like, Trump's just this hollow husk of swindle. That's all he is. He's just a swindler, nothing more. I don't need to explain to y'all why that's the truth. You know why it's the truth. But it's just listening to him can really be interesting sometimes. Like, none of these things would have happened if I was president. Like, there's no way for us to ever know any of these things. But his base just eats it up. And that's why he continuously says it, because it's a cult.
13 soldiers, and nobody ever mentions, and I mention because I love them, and they're all watching right now. 48 soldiers that were horrifically injured. Nobody ever, they lived and they don't talk about them, but these are incredible warriors that were hurt so badly with the legs and the arms and the face, and hurt so badly. 48 of them. And we love you. You're listening and we love you. We're not forgetting you. And for all of us standing before you today, I can proudly proclaim that the golden age of America is upon us. It is. It's going to be a golden age. There's a spirit that we have now that we didn't have just a short while ago. Sadly, we didn't have. Well, who the hell can have spirit? Watching women get beat up in a boxing ring? I don't think that's spirit, right? We're going to end that one quick. We're going to end it very quickly.
I guess that was the part where he said we're gonna end that very quick. My guess is when he says that we're gonna end women getting beat up in boxing. My guess is he's talking about the Olympian from Morocco. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But that would be my guess because he was all over that.
Right? We're going to end that one quick. We're going to end it very quickly. We're going to end that one very quickly. Since the election, the stock market has broken one record after another. The biggest gain of stock market after an election in history. That's a good sign. In a single month, small business.
That's a good sign.
Optimism soared 41 points, which is a record. That's a record.
He just rambles. He really does. And his base completely eats it up. But hey, this is what America wants, apparently. Hey now. Thank you so much for tuning in here at Politics and Paper. If you like what I do and you support my work, go ahead and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it and it really helps to support what we do here.